That brings us again to item number 13, which is action as necessary or appropriate on matters discussed in executive session. And we have one item, and I entertain a motion on that at this time. Ms. Hutchison.
I move that we approve the selected employment items as shown in Exhibit A.
Second. Ms. Bumgarner was second. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Passes unanimously. That brings us to our discussion agenda, item number 14, which is capital budget process for fiscal year 2019, shown in Exhibit C. Mr. Richardson and Mr. Carlin are going to help us with this.
Tag team tonight. Thank you, Mr. Gaddis, members of the board. We're here before you tonight with our 5-year capital budget proposal, 2018-2019 school year. Just a reminder, this is a 5-year plan. It's designed to ensure that we're maintaining our fiscal plan across in the district. We've established the priorities to include roof replacements, HVAC systems, technology, vehicle replacements, and other type of improvements and renovations, and also some funds for contingencies for those items that seem to pop up that we don't have not planned for. This 5-year plan is based upon our projected funds that will be available on an annual basis of $10 million per year at the current millage rate. 7% of the funds, or $7 million, goes to our fiscal plan, whereas 30% is allocated to our technology needs across the district. Although this is a 5-year plan, we will be coming to you on an annual basis to approve the upcoming school year. I will now probably turn this over to Mr. Carlin and let him come up here and get into the guts of what we are proposing tonight, and then we'll try to answer any questions that you may have as well.
Good evening, thank you. Let's see if I can make this technology work. All right. Okay, so we want to begin by showing you last year's budget. And if you'll focus on that circle, and you can see that. What you see represented in the circle are 2 projects that we would have presented to you in the proposed budget we're going to give you. However, because we had some leftover capital dollars from our previous capital budgets, we're going to propose that we go ahead and fund those projects, which includes a roof replacement on the activities building. At Irma High School, the activities building is the back building behind the main building, which includes things like the gymnasiums, ROTC, locker rooms, those type things. We're going to propose, with some of those leftover capital dollars, re-roofing the vast majority of that building. And we're also proposing to you that we perform a project that's going to help with efficiency and the effectiveness of the chilled water loop in that building, which is part of the HVAC system. Just to give a little background on that project. We had at one time 3 operational, what they call chillers, that circulate cold water through the system and provide your comfort cooling for your spaces. Our HVAC controls technician, Russ Koch, made an astute observation that those chillers were not operating at peak efficiency, so we had a study done by one of our local contractors, the train company, on the existing chillers, and we were actually able to do away with one of our chillers, totally rebuild the other 2 chillers. That was a project that was on a previous capital budget that we would have brought to you in our 5-year plan, no longer necessary. But this project will kind of complete what we began with rebuilding those 2 chillers. So that's what that's all about. And I will answer any questions on the previous budget, these 2 projects, before I move on to the proposed budget, if you have it.
Yes, about
about that, you're talking about that roof replacement?
Yes, ma'am.
In the activity building, is that everything's like from each of the cafeteria and the gym?
Cafeteria, the gym,
How about the
over
newest-
ROTC.
Yeah, now how about that newest gym, you know, we put the temples, the John Temples, you know, it's kind of a practice gym. It's not the
It
regular.
doesn't include the practice gym, it does not include the area that used to have the coaches' offices in it in the far back.
Yeah.
And we, last year, replaced the portion of the building over Delta and some of the covered walkway areas. But it's the lion's share of that building. Any other questions?
I just want to make sure I understand that I'm a little confused here. This was in last year's capital budget, and are we saying we're moving these two items to this year? Is that what you're suggesting?
It was in the last, 5-year plan that you saw. What you approved was what you see in yellow. But Mr. Richardson, my intent was to show you, we would have been proposing those in this current budget. The ones that you see in the circle. We are not going to propose it in this coming budget because we're proposing to fund it with previous capital year dollars that we have left over. Does that make sense?
So, just to be clear, so you're actually, we intend to do those projects, but we're removing them from the total.
That's correct. All we want to do is show you, listen, we have some remaining dollars. Here's how we would like to use those remaining dollars.
Would that be done in the summer? That kind of, would that be this summer?
Yes, ma'am, that's the intent. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to this year's proposed budget. The projects that we're proposing, you'll see highlighted in yellow there. We begin by presenting to you the last and final phase of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning replacement, along with ceilings and lighting systems at Lake Murray Elementary School. The portion of the building that has yet to be done in the resource areas, the gymnasium, cafeteria, mini theater. We completed all the academic wings and the center administrative areas in the previous two phases. The next project is the second phase of replacement for the, what I call the original construction at Chapin Intermediate School. We completed the first phase last summer. This will complete the second phase of the original construction. There were two other additions that were added on in 1997 and 2005. We will not be addressing those in this project. Next is what we propose as the first phase of replacement, believe it or not, at Dutch Fork High School on the original construction. We perceive a three-phase replacement project for that original roof. In the first phase of the project, we intend to address some of the metal, slope metal roof decorative areas on the school as well. Irmo High School. You received a report at last board meeting talking about some of the difficulties we had with some of the athletic facilities at Irmo High School. The two projects you see there, the first one will be to construct a softball press box and concessions area. Also, we will be taking a look at the other facilities that support the softball program, like the field itself, seating areas, lighting if that needs to be addressed, and also area for the young ladies to change in. That's the first project. The second project, which kind of goes hand in hand with that one, is the existing training room in Irmo High School is very dated, number one, but it's also woefully inadequate size-wise, and the facilities that it provides. So we're proposing to create a new training room area in another part of the activities building. We've got a couple of options we're looking at, and we'll be finalizing those as we dig more into it with a design professional. Those two projects are intended to address some of the challenges that were presented to you for last week. that last item on this particular page deals with insurance costs, selling bonds and things like that. We also are including in this budget replacing some activity buses, continuing to refresh our vehicle fleet for facilities, operations, and maintenance. The next item, school identified needs. We received a number of requests from the schools for enhancements to address some needs that they perceive they have in the schools, and that those dollars are intended to address not all of them, but what we in conversation with the principals think are the priorities for their individual requests. And then finally, a contingency number to make sure that if any of our projects we propose go over what we have budgeted, that we're able to address that. But of course, our intent is always coming under, and we hope to be able to come back to you again next year and say, hey, we have dollars left over, and here's what we propose we use this for.
Shannon, next question.
I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Put them together, but they're different things. Under the Irmo High remodeling training room, after we had the presentation about timeline,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just interested to know, are the ladies, or in the ladies sports allowed to use the training room? Do we have?
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely
so
be for men's and women's
Good.
sports.
All right, I just want to be sure. So as we remodel that would be for those.
Absolutely.
And then my other one, I just wanted a little bit more clarification on school identified needs. Is that still done like where the principals pretty much make a list of a lot of things they need, and we know that our wants and our needs are, you know, we don't get everything
Yes,
all
ma'am.
in 1 year. But are they, I'm just wondering how you decide that. Is it the administration with the principals, or mainly your office with those principals? And how do you rank them? I mean, because it's so hard, and I would think everything they need, we know that it's important. I just thought it'd be good for the public to know how we go about deciding which needs are met.
It's a friendly conversation between the administration and the principals, and trying to make sure that we address the critical items first, and then obviously we like to do all of them.
Yeah, and I realize that.
Now, and I will say this as well. We don't always use capital dollars to address some of the things that they identify to us. For instance, there are some schools, Mr. Olden's in the audience tonight. He had a couple of projects he was interested in us helping him with. One had to do with exterior lighting, and one of them had to do with replacing the lighting system in his gymnasium. We were able to accomplish those in-house with some of my in-house forces, some of our technicians, and so we addressed through those needs that way. And in some cases, it's a request that we can meet with our current operating budget. So there are different funding avenues, there's different ways to skin the cat, but we want to make sure we put some dollars aside, particularly for capital items, and they're going to be over $5,000. This is a way to address some of those needs.
You know, most of our, and you know, help me with this, and I've gone through this many different years, but with our capital expenditures, we usually can and should use that 8% money. Isn't that what we usually?
That's exactly what it's for.
And so even the contingencies, all that comes out of that same budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Eye contact. I'll go to Mr. Casey and come this way.
On the school identified needs, at what point do you, I know that there's a huge wish list and need list.
Yes, ma'am.
At what point, you said that you work with administrators at each school, do you have a set list of saying, okay, we're going to do X, Y, Z at these different schools? I mean, it's not set now, because
Well, it's actually a pretty good question. At one time it was, everybody bring the wish list and by X date, and it stops. We kind of adopted a little different philosophy, and that is, and I think Mr. Richardson may have shared some of this with you. If not, you're going to get it. We've developed something on our Google applications, Google Docs. You familiar with some of these things? We created a Google, what they call a Google Sheet, which is a worksheet for every school, and we give rights to the principal, facility supervisor, NAP, if that's appropriate, secretary. And it is a living document. So they're constantly adding things to that, that we hope to continue to be able to address so long as the dollars, until the dollars run out. But again, there's different ways to fund it, there's different ways to skin the cat. So we always want them updating and refreshing that so we get the current need at the time. You know, they may put a need down, and 2 weeks later they figure out, oh, we don't need that, and they can take that off and add something to it. But Mr. Richardson is in the process right now of sitting down with some of our principals and talking to them, and we're confirming some of those needs and trying to figure out how we, best allocate those dollars.
Such and one of the things we're trying to do is get to a point, right now, if you look at, I shared the document, we had a chance to look at it, they're pretty extensive, on some of them. But you'll see some of the information or some of the requests or duplications of what you're already seeing here. Some of them are where they're requesting new flooring, new painting, those type of items. What we're trying to do is get to a point where, and we're not there yet, to get to a point where we know where we are with painting, flooring upgrades and all that, so that we can have a better idea and let folks know going forward when they can plan to have that done in their school. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer. So we are trying to make this a little bit more systematic approach to some of these things. We're moving around, just hitting this and saying, well, you're asking a little bit louder than you are, so we're going to do yours this year. That's where we're headed with it.
Mr. Case.
I have a question related to the slide you have up there, and then one in general about capital projects and equipment. Line 31 and 32 under Irmo High School, I see the two projects there. And I guess the dollar amount is projected from past experience with similar projects.
Yes, sir.
And has the space, you said, and I didn't hear you clearly, has the space for the training room been identified, or is that still a work in progress?
It's a work in progress. We've identified 2 possible locations, but maybe a third also. But we really need, once we start working with our design professionals, that we'll nail down the right space in coordination with the Irmo High School staff.
And then, in general, concerning capital projects, capital equipment, I guess more equipment. Once that equipment is purchased and installed, what is our policy as far as the way that equipment is maintained? Is that a line item for that high school? Does that request need to come from the building principal? It seems like we have products, and I'm specifically thinking of some of the scoreboards that get installed, and then there's always seems to be some question over who's responsible for the maintenance and upkeep once those are installed.
Boss, you want to answer that one?
You want me to be more
question?
Well, it's hard for me to speak as a parent, and I wear that hat as well.
Well, I was gonna,
But specifically, I can give an example where there's a scoreboard put in an athletic facility. It comes in disrepair, and then all of a sudden, the parents and those athletes are fundraising to repair that capital equipment that was installed by the district. I guess at some point, it feels like the district is turning that equipment over to those coaches or those booster clubs or those parents to have to maintain. And I just want to get a clear picture for what our policy is and how that is supposed to work.
I don't know that we have a policy, quite frankly. I would say.
Well, and that concerns me.
Well, I would say to you, though, in most cases, and it really depends on the school, and particular booster clubs, where they may take a little bit more ownership in those type of things than others. If we know about it, we try to take care of it from the district level. And specifically, in Earl High School, there were a couple cases over there where we just found out about particular school.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where it feels for me that maybe there is a policy breakdown as far as who needs to take ownership for reporting that? How does it get reported? Is there a mechanism to move that up through the system? That's the part, and it might be very clear in the building, it's just not. And it doesn't, if it's clear in the building, it doesn't have to be clear to me, but right now it doesn't feel like it's clear anyway.
One of the, and it's not, it's clear as mud, I guess, but one of the things that we're doing currently, and we're in the process, and Mr. Clark can speak to this somewhat probably better than me, he's been on, but one of the things we're doing is we're actually walking through every school, I'm talking every corner of every school in the district. We're in that process right now, and some of these type of things that you're talking about are we're becoming aware of now because we're doing that. So I think we're getting to a point where we'll be able to do a better job of getting a handle on what we have and what we need to be maintaining.
Ms. Hutchison.
I have two questions, if I may. The first is to ask about the louvered panels to hide the HVAC systems that Mr. Carlin loves to look at, and we prefer not to, on the top of Irma Middle and Irma High School. Can you give us an update on that, or is there no update?
Well, there's really no update. Honestly, we have looked at it. It's an explicit proposition, no kidding. One of the things we talked about internally, and we don't have a plan to address those things right now. That may be something that your direction we need to do. But as part of the replacement of HVAC units across the district, as we continue on down this process, that's one of the things we will look at in each one of the schools as we are replacing HVAC systems, some type of screening for those rooftop units as well, especially some of our schools are, down below the road where you can really see them.
Mr. Gann, I don't know if that's something that we might, I'd like to know what the numbers are, what the price is for those, and it might be just prohibitive, but I'm wondering if that's something that we might want to consider as part of our budget to look at. And it might be that, we all scream and run and say, we understand.
Well, we've got a ballpark figure on the two particular schools you just spoke about, and it was somewhere in the $200,000 range, if I remember correctly, what it would cost us to do that.
To do the screening. It seems to me that we did a lot of that at Chapin High School with the last renovation and additions of that, some screening. So we ought to have some pretty current costs there.
We've got some current costs based on the last two HVAC projects that we did at River Springs and Lake Murray. So we know generically what some of the numbers can be. The problem is there's no consistency in the district on screening HVAC equipment. Some equipment was screened at Chapin High School. There are other areas where it wasn't screened at all. So it's easy in Brayton School. The new middle school has that incorporated. The difficulty is going back on these existing schools and doing it cost effectively. But again, we do everything we do with your pleasure. So we can bring those numbers back. You can talk about it and figure out if that's something that you're interested in. It's best if we can do it while we're doing other things, just because it becomes so expensive if you're doing that for fact.
But it's obvious we're doing a lot. We have a cycle of replacements. It's come up several times since the staff that work on some figures like that. I know that the ones that are so the lower elevations that you can see all over the top, that's probably the most pressing ones that you've got. I think the board would be real interested in seeing that. We all have time to develop.
Sure.
Sounds like optimal time is for replacing units, like those are constant. And their elevation is such, you might have far enough back that it's not swimming. That seems to be something, I remember last year, we broke that up. Someone was sitting so close to the edge of the building, to go back further. It seemed that they hide themselves.
Yeah, the benefit of Benchmark High is that most of that equipment is not visible from down below the 2 stories. At Irmo, it's quite visible.
I think one of the places that it's so obvious is when you're middle school, you look at some of the buildings there that are much lower, especially at the library. It's just, it's might have to do it a real time. That'll probably help. All Mr. Richardson needs is.
And then my second question, if I may, but thank you for adding on to that. I'm seeing in my neighborhood, just in the past 6 months, 3 houses that have solar panels. And I know we have 2, and this is just like on the main drag, so I haven't gone through the neighborhood. I'm wondering if it's become less expensive for installation than it previously has because it's more prevalent. And if we have done or do or have someone take a look at an evaluation of the cost effectiveness in the long term of adding solar panels to the schools, as opposed to replacing the HVAC, because I know the HVAC is, well, Lake Murray is, what, $2 million? And I don't know anything about the cost of the solar panels, but I'm wondering if it's time for us to take a look again and compare the long-term return on when we can start benefiting and from that whole process.
We've done some looking at the solar panel issue, both with companies like SCG and some of the third-party companies that are coming in. You know, there was at one time there was a lot of federal money that came along. If you installed the panels, you get monetary kickbacks for doing it, which made it easier to pay for it. A lot of those opportunities don't exist anymore. And through some of our dealings and listening to some of these companies, it was difficult for us to come down with confidence that these systems would pay for themselves. Once you factor in all the maintenance and the replacement and all the, what happens when your panels are defective, because there's a percentage of them that won't last the lifetime of the rest of the system. Well, how do you get those replaced? Cost, and we just weren't able to hear a convincing argument for doing it. We can certainly look at it again. We bounced this around with Richland 2 and Richland 1, and they I don't know that anybody has jumped in with solar panels just because it didn't seem to pay when we look at it.
Well, and of course, I know we still have the HVAC system, so I don't know, that might not even be a good comparison. I just would love to see it, but it's, it has to be cost effective.
Right.
Mr. White?
Just a quick question. What you're saying, replace the HVAC?
No. I just said, I know we can't replace it, but, so forget that. I was mixing apples and
You
oranges.
just generate the power to run the HVAC.
Right, I was correct.
Well, you also have a very good point. We attempted to look at very high energy efficiency HVAC systems with one of our new schools, Ohio, and also at Cape Center. In some areas of the country, it is very advantageous to install, you've probably heard this term before, geothermal systems. But the ground and the soil materials have to be the right. I mean, we had gone down the road of doing that for Cape Center and Spring Hill High School. But when the quotes came in to put in the wells for that system, the costs were so high. And once the engineers took a look at what was being proposed, it wasn't going to pay. So we abandoned that idea and went back with cooling towers. So there are areas in the country, Kentucky, and places like that have these net zero schools. As long as you have the right topography and the right amount of sunshine, you do your orientation of the building, the windows and all that, a lot of that can be done. It's more difficult here.
Follow-up question for you that, but it seems to me this is, at some point, solar's going to be cost effective. I mean, the government's not subsidizing it, which is a lot of stuff moving in that direction, or either alternative energy. But I guess the question,
The biggest problem for solar right now for us is utility costs are so cheap down here. Up north, it's a whole lot more viable option, or in Europe, where utility costs are much higher than they are here.
well, I guess the question is, does the Cape Center, do they do anything? I mean, it just seems like maybe a small pilot project or incubator project. If they're not doing that now, it seems like that would be something interesting for them to do. At some point, it may be that, they start compiling the data themselves, maybe there are some.
Yes, sir.
It could be cost
It'd be something to look at.
You get another study.
Sam, I did not come to this one.
Mine's on that too, so, I'm just gonna ask, since there is so much, and I think it's important to look at all that, since we do have so much ongoing, and it is, ever since I've been on board, the HVAC, do we take bids, or do we use one company to do this, and then they give us a really good price? I've never asked that.
Yeah,
But just looking at this, do you shop for it like, like you shop cost or how well their reputation is, and how good their product is, or do you deal with one company?
No, ma'am. We put every one of these projects out there.
Gotcha. So these could be variable companies that got that school in a different
Oh,
country.
yes. Fortunately for us, we have been,
We have so much.
we have been very fortunate that we have a handful of very good companies that did our work, but it'll be W.B. Gimron on Light Rail Elementary, it'll be W.O. Blackstone at Dutch Fork High School, it'll be,
I think it's smart. I think all of the discussion is good. I mean, and it is, Mr. White's right. They do that.
Sorry, Ms. Montgomery,
Okay. Answering Mr. White's question, at the Cape Center right now is a great project being sponsored by SPG, where it's got 2 solar panels, and they're measuring how much energy they have on the stationary as opposed to the moving one, and then calculating the cost, whether the moving one, is cost efficient, we could add it. And this is information that our students are doing the research on, and it's going into the power company. So it's a very exciting project that really started last year. And I mean, the amount of data is amazing. So, yes.
I'm just going to piggyback on Ms. Hutchinson, Mr. Whitehead, Bogart on that. I think when we signed our contract for the new middle school addition, we asked for architects to look at that possibility for the addition. So I think those solar panels are a supplement to whatever's there. But I hadn't heard any report back. That'd be something that we could follow up with the architect on that. I think it's something we need to look at all the time. What the alternatives are, the long. Mr. Carlin has a thought about utility bills in the south. Mine's awfully high. I hate to see what one must be up in other parts of the country, but I know they are different because I see the
relatively speaking, they are.
I had one question to ask you, just a matter of curiosity, I guess, but on the Dutch Fork High School roof replacement, then you had metal towers. What's probably repainting those green towers out there?
Yes.
Something like that.
We did that a few years ago at some of our elementaries in Nursery Road, Harbison West. There's a pretty fancy coating system that is good for those metal panel type roofs and what I call mansards, the fascia type parts of it.
They don't appear to appeal, but they're certainly got lighter, but that's 26 years
They
in
say.
sunlight.
That's right.
And then, for everything. The one thing I wanted to ask you, I was at one of our newer additions, renovations last week. I was in a parking lot, it was nighttime, it was a basketball game, and it was dark. I was concerned because that's where everybody parked. And I know we have, just like Mr. Richardson mentioned, we have people in all our schools all the time. Do we ever do an audit where we have some security or somebody saying, hey, school X is very dark in certain areas, and they try to upgrade lights? And I know you mentioned Chapin Intermediate, that you probably would work together on some improvements there, but that's a safety aspect at night especially. If this was a prime time, it was 8 o'clock at night.
That may have been a faulty schedule or a time clock, hopefully. I don't know if you remember, Mr. Dean, but a number of years ago, it was actually a capital project where we went and added some additional exterior lighting in various schools because of the safety aspect of it. But yes, and Mr. Poole and his team are always looking at that for us and identifying where they perceive problems to do with lighting. Based on one of the assessments that they did when we added some of the portable classrooms at Lake Murray this last summer, we went back and with the utility added some more lighting. But it's something that we discuss with our facility supervisors and our principals all the time. Look, if you've got a dark area or the lights are shutting off too early, we need to know about it and we need to address it.
And the other thing, I just wanted to kind of get a fact that was given a little earlier tonight. It's right, you told us the school is 16 years old. I want to compliment your staff, your custodial staff. I think that's one of the things that really helps our schools. So we have a lot of pride and a lot of great maintaining of schools. It's evident here tonight. You never know you were in school 16 years old.
And Shirley and her team do an outstanding job.
That's the
maintaining the
best
school.
district. So my hats off to your group. So that's to me one of the great parts about coming out of the schools. We can see the condition, see the items. My hats off to you. It looks great. Any other questions on the capital budget?
Thank you very much.
He's trying to get off early.
I was attempting, getting back to the theme of when dollars are left over. Provided we do have remaining dollars, there's key projects that we're looking at right now that we would like to address. Again, provided those funds are available with existing dollars from previous capital budgets, and once we accomplish the projects that we are proposing to you in this particular budget, we would like to put those dollars towards these projects and possibly more. The first project there is, for lack of a better term, it's a cost avoidance project. We have a number of generations of HVAC control systems in our schools. Because of the continuing advancements in technology, it is becoming more and more difficult to communicate with some of those older systems. This particular project will handle some of those communications between all the systems in our IT network. And here's the challenge with control systems. Some of our older systems, they're old, but they still work well. As we're replacing HVAC systems in our schools, we don't just throw away those old control systems. We grab the useful parts and we bench stock them to be used for spare parts at some of the other schools that have those same dated systems. So we don't want to go through, and which some school districts do, because it's easy, go through and do a wholesale controls replacement. We want to continue to use that old equipment and phase it out slowly over time. The problem is to be able to continue to communicate, it takes some dollars. Just to give you an idea, if we didn't do this project and we took the easy way out and just went and replaced all the systems, it would probably cost over $1 million to do that. So that's why I call this a cost avoidance project that allows us to continue to use some of those older systems. The second project, window replacement at Dutch Fork High School, I'm very thankful I was involved in the decision on what windows were chosen for Dutch Fork High when it was constructed, but they're similar to what some of you probably have in your houses. They're wood windows with with an aluminum cladding, and they're rotting, and let's just say they're inadequate and causing security concerns because they're difficult to lock, but they don't lock at all anymore, and they're impossible to maintain. So that's what that project is all about. Unfortunately, we don't have those type windows in our other schools. We have a better commercial option. That third project, Hardison West, is in a unique location in Hardison community. And because of the development, the apartment complexes, and a lot of the traffic in that area, It is, in the morning and the afternoon, it is very difficult to negotiate around our parent traffic in that area. And what you'll find if you go there during those times is that people will bypass the car rider line, go in the opposite lane against traffic, and it's a nightmare. So that project will provide greater stacking on the campus, which we do for any of our new schools. We make sure we have a good bit of stacking. Can't do that right now in the school. This will take care of that. And then the fourth project is some basic sound systems in our gymnasiums, and in one case, like we're in the mini theater, to upgrade those systems. Any questions on those projects?
Ms. Hammond?
It's not on the projects, but you're saying that these are things we can do with money that wasn't spent on the capital budget.
Not all of them, but as dollars continue to become available, hopefully, we would like to put them towards those projects.
So how do we, I'm just really trying to understand the process. When we have a budget we do 1 year for the next year, some of the things come in under what we projected. That's where the extra.
That's correct.
That's all.
Out of that list that you're looking at, they're all fairly important. They're not in any type of priority order, I would say. Probably the one that we're most likely to do first, well, I should probably say this out loud, there's actually two of them I think we should probably try to do first, would be the window replacement at Dutchfork High School, because those windows are, the school is not secure with those particular windows we have now. And then the car rider loop, if you've ever been to Arkansas West during peak traffic areas, you do take your life into your own hands trying to navigate around there. It's traffic stacks up pretty bad in the main road for Arkansas West.
And I would say for equity, all the others, our elementary schools that we built do have that, and because of the unique space there with Harrison, I would say that's a priority too, just to be sure they have the same, amenity that another school has. And for safety is the most, and that's why we have it.
Mr. Carl, I want to ask you, the first two items, the control system and the window replacement, that played into our energy audit system that we're trying to conserve energy, and would there be any credit from doing that we can put back in the school zone? Obviously, we've got bad windows, we're losing the heat and air. Plus the security piece is big.
It's actually a twofold problem with those type of windows when it comes to energy efficiency, because first of all, they're not very efficient, the windows themselves. Secondly, if one of those, because they're double hung windows, if one of those panes drops and somebody doesn't notice it, where we're located. Our biggest challenge is humidity, summertime and wintertime. And the more we can airtight that building envelope, the better we are at, the more efficient it is. It's not just like I said, the window panes, but it is inordinately expensive to dry those buildings out. And what the eventual impact will be, I'm not sure, but it will certainly contribute to greater energy efficiency.
Yeah, that was a great question too, because I think you asked about synergistic energy conservation that we've got going on. We got ahead of this, and so we got full credit for this, and we'll get full credit for incentives on this one. We don't have to split the costs.
Just one last comment. The car rider loop, I want to compliment whoever came up with the design. Give Mr. Holden credit, and you, and particularly intermediate. I can't imagine what that line was before you all added the extra lane part of that way, because it still backs up in the road. But I think anything we can do from a safety aspect in our schools, and all a little different, but that's certainly a priority, because it can be very dangerous on those main highways trying to get in and out.
Yes, sir.
I think we have Mr. Cates and then Ms. Hudson.
I think you answered the question just then. Back in June, we had the presentation by Dr. Price for synergistic, and I just didn't remember if we follow up and implement that program that he had proposed that night.
We did. We have actually 2 energy specialists on staff, whether synergistic employees, but they're on some great savings for us. We knew this was a problem at Dutch Fork High School, so we wanted to make sure that we got full credit for any savings that these new windows will give us at Dutch Fork High School. So that was, I'm glad we got ahead of this one and ahead of them on this one.
We've got a procedure in place to make sure that if it's an idea we come up with, that we take credit for it.
Ms. Hutchison?
I'm glad you brought up the concern with the carbide or a little bit of harvesting. Is there a temporary fix that can be done? Since I know that route because of my children going there and, you know, going in the lower entrance, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of room, but I was just wondering if there's a temporary fix.
And I can't say I'm the expert on traffic flow by any means, but from the times I've been out there, which I avoid during those peak times, by the way, I don't know if there is I don't know if there's anything that's getting that traffic off of that road the way it is now.
Any other questions? Mr. Carlin, that good on your slides? You got one more?
Fortunately, no, that's the only one I forgot.
We appreciate the update. I'm sure there'll be more questions as we
Yes, sir.
go forward this process. Well, that brings us to item number 15, which is to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn. Ms. Bumgarner,
I move that we adjourn.
you have a second? Mr. White, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.